Hello and welcome to our video today. We will be adding users from both the back office and the POS in the Volanté VE system. Users are generally added as cashiers or managers, sometimes referred to as POS admin cashiers. And both job types do offer a difference in the type of securities and permissions that the user we add will have access to. So, for example, a cashier may or may not have access to things like opening cash drawers, running a void or a refund, whereas a manager will have access to these functions as well as the ability to override for the cashier when these functions are in use. So let's take a look now at how we can add in users at the back office, and then we'll look at user additions at the POS. So from our cloud space, our VE login, we do have a number of different areas that we can access. So for today, we'll be accessing the user management area in the bottom left side of the screen. From here, we can see a number of users who already exist. I'm going to go ahead and create a new user here for today, and we'll be focusing on POS users. Future videos will cover kiosk users as well as system user information. To add a POS user, we're going to touch on the Create POS User button, where we can now add default information for our user. So let's go ahead and give our person a name and a last name. The email address and phone number are not mandatory fields. However, the user login and user card number are. For our user login, depending on our location's specific policies, we may potentially give our person a number that they can type in on screen to access the system and the terminal. Or if we want to restrict the person to using a card swipe number instead, for the user login, we might give them a first initial last name. So in this case, we'll go ahead and type in our first initial last name for our user, and instead we'll be using a card swipe number. If I'd like to see what I typed in, I can hit the I, and that will show me the information I've entered to this field. For my user card number, I'll touch into this field and I can type in the number located on the back of the employee card underneath the magnetic stripe. If I do have a magnetic stripe reader attached to my computer, I could also swipe the card at this point. I'll go ahead and type in my card number now. My last step is to assign this particular user a role. Now, I don't want to hit the Add POS Role button because that will just add a second role to the person. Instead, I'll use my default role setup over here, and I'll choose from a list of available roles. I might need to use the slider on the right-hand side to see a full list. So from here, I can pick an applicable role. Any of the roles set up for admin, BO admin, or BO admin cashier are roles that were created for back office access, like we're seeing here on screen. These users should only be added by the support team, as additional accesses need to be granted to give them access into the cloud space. So for this particular user, we can give them cashier, or we can give them general POS admin cashier. I'll go ahead and choose POS admin cashier. I'm not going to be filling out a rate for any hourly tracking as we're not doing any payroll functionality here. If for some reason this person has a second job type, I can hit the plus sign to add a POS role. If I do click this in error, I can simply hit the garbage can icon next to that POS role and then choose to remove. I'll go ahead and create our user now. My next step after creating my users would be to perform a data sync. This will make sure that these users get pushed down into my terminal and are available in order to start accessing sales data, reporting, or more. I'll hit Sync Setter and go to Terminal Sync. My setup sync type should be Setup. And I'm going to go ahead and choose to sync now. I'll leave all of the checkboxes on, choose Next, and choose Next again, and then start sync. As we notice, I've got a pending update happening. We see the icon under last sync status is pending. I'll give it a few moments and then I can hit the refresh button and my sync should have gone down to my terminal. As we can see, my sync status is now set to success. So this is one way we can add users into our system. So let's now go ahead and take a look at how we add users into the system from the POS level. In order to add users from our POS level, I do need to have a user who has at least POS admin cashier or manager level access to the point of sale. Cashier users do not have the ability or access to create other cashier users. So in my case, I'm going to go ahead and go into my system and I'll log in. Generally speaking, it's best to be clocked in, and as we can see, I am already clocked in as an admin cashier level, and I'm going to come to my admin screen located on the left side panel. From here, I can choose POS User Management. I can see a variety of users in my system currently, as well as the newly created user I made in the back office, my manager test login. I'm going to go ahead and create a new user here now. So let's go ahead and choose the Create User button at the top. And as we can see, the screen looks very much the same as it did in the back office. I'll go ahead and create a cashier and we'll give them a first name and last name. The virtual keypad does come up on screen, so I am able to touch the buttons in order to enter words. I'll hit enter and a last name. As before, I'm not going to fill in an email or a phone number, but I am going to give this person a login with first initial last name. Because I'm working on a terminal in this case, I'm actually going to swipe a card on my magnetic stripe reader on my machine. A card number has been entered, and as before, I can touch on the eye in order to view the number. This number does match to the number printed on my card beneath the magnetic stripe. My last step will be to provide a POS role for this user. I'll choose Cashier, and I'm going to confirm my new user. As we can see, my user is now available here on screen. If I'd like this user to be available at any other POS terminals, I would need to force sync from the POS, which will send the information to the cloud and then back down to our other terminals. So in this case, I'll choose the Sync Status Manager. I'm going to change my sync type to setup, and I'm going to sync this terminal. This does take a few moments to send the information to the cloud, and then the information will be subsequently sent to other machines in order for them to have the same users. I'll hit done. Now, if I would like to edit or update information about a user, I can do that from my POS User Management here on the POS or from the user screen in the back office. Let's say I need to update some information about our cashier here for today. I'm going to touch on my cashier, and that will bring up my Edit the Cashier screen. So I'm going to edit this POS user. If I have to change information like a name or login information, I can simply touch on that field and type in new information. I can modify the user login. And I can also assign a new user card. So if this person has lost their card, we need to reassign a new card. I simply touch into that field, take a card, and swipe it. As we can see, I do have a new card number available to me. Now, if this person happens to have changed job roles, possibly they've been promoted from a cashier to a manager, I'm going to go ahead and use the drop-down and then change their job type. I can hit confirm here as well. Or if this person has more than one job type, I can add a POS role and add a second job type if I like. So I'll go ahead and confirm this person. We see they do have two job types listed under roles. They are currently clocked out and they are an active user. As before, I would come to the Sync Status Manager, change my sync to setup, and I'm going to sync this terminal. Within a few moments, the information will update to the cloud and then back down to any other terminals within the same network. And I'm going to hit done. And I'll hit the home button to exit. And let's go ahead and log out, and we'll try swiping the card and see if we can get in as our newly created users. Let's try the card we just created. As we can see, I have my cashier Volanté that's currently clocked out. Thank you for watching our quick video on how we can add cashiers and managers to the Volanté POS system. If you'd like additional information, please look to our Learning Hub, where you can find information like 2-page quick start guides, manuals, and more.